Greetings, friends. This is the fourth video in our series that will introduce us to emotions. And in this video, we're going to talk about the characteristics of emotions. This is more of a holistic way of looking at the whole process. In the last video, we looked at the values, beliefs, and strategies that underline each emotion, and that these emotions are actually have quite an intellectual structure to them. We can pull them apart and look at them in more detail. What we're going to look at today in this video is to take a look and see some of what I call the characteristics of emotions, what we can actually see their use and purpose of if we look at them holistically. One way to look at emotions is to see them as what I call tools of the soul. And if you think at emotions holistically, what you see is that what emotions are doing is trying to connect us to those things that will satisfy us. Now, emotions will satisfy a lot of different aspects of our personality, but what I want to take a look at right now is how emotions satisfy the deepest desires of our soul. We want to be loved, and so our emotions engage us fully in finding communities of people who will love us, a partner who will share the rest of our life with us, friends, and so on. We deeply long to be significant and to find significance, and our emotions drive us to that. We look for situations that we can contribute to and feel valued for that contribution. So we can look at emotions as the facilitator of what our souls deeply desire. We also can look at emotions as thermostats. A thermostat is, something that regulates temperature. And we can see that emotions will crank up the thermostat, and when we get closer to things that we want, or they can turn down the thermostat if they find out that we are not close to what we want. We feel all of that. So when an emotion hits, we need to pay attention to it, and that's why I say that emotions demand attention. They are motivating us to act. They are motivating us to do something, and usually they want us to do something right now. Oftentimes that's not convenient, so we talk about having to control our emotions. But our emotions aren't geared up to be put on the shelf. They are geared up to have us act now. And they not only they only want us to act now. There's a temporal part to it, but they want us to actually act. They want us to do something. They want us to actually um, get off of our seat, get out of our bed, take action, go somewhere, do something. So the emotions will not allow us just to sit idly by and watch a need being met, a need going unmet. Excuse me. Now, one of the things that we all know almost intuitively, and it certainly has been an object of research, is that men oftentimes are not seen as emotional. And one of the reasons for that is that we are trained to be people who quote unquote get the job done, take care of our responsibilities. And because emotions oftentimes deal with very very deep and profound kind of issues, sometimes the world doesn't have time for that. I mean, you got to get the job done. You have to meet the deadline. You have to fill the report. You have obligations. And so men oftentimes are not in tune with their emotions, and oftentimes the way women are. Women oftentimes are in situations where relationships and developing a connection with people, with kids, with family, requires of them to be sensitive to emotions and what the emotions are reflecting about the people that they know and love in their lives, where men oftentimes are not so keen about that. So one of the reasons why men might not be as high an emotional IQ is because we're trained not to listen to them. Um, Emotions, I believe, are remarkably efficient. That means that they kind of sum up a lot of things that we truly believe and feel, and connect all of those things together. And we can oftentimes emotionally do two or three things at once. We can love somebody and feel our life is valuable and purposeful because of it. We can look for a good job and love that job and the people around it, and look for situations where a lot of emotional needs is met at once at the same time. Another thing that emotions do is they limit our focus. They want us to take a look at one thing at a time. And as we said earlier, they want us to look at that one thing now. So when you're angry, you will oftentimes look at the offense of the person or the offending person and look at how they offended you. You might not take other things into consideration. That's one of the actually easiest way to unhinge anger is to look at things from a bigger perspective, but anger doesn't want you to do that. If you're jealous, you just only look at that part of the person that's about an aspect of the person that makes you jealous. Envy, the same way. So it's one of the things to know about emotions that doesn't allow you to see big pictures in emotional intelligence. As we will talk about later, it requires us to actually see things in a bigger picture before we act, and not do something that would get us later in trouble. As I said in one of the earlier videos, that the emotion of depression, oftentimes is seen negatively, but it actually can be quite a positive emotion because it focuses us on one thing. This one thing that is so terribly, awfully bad that we shouldn't do anything else until it is taken care of. And so in that way, the limiting capacity of emotion actually can be a helpful thing. As we know that emotions can be addicting. You can fall in love with a particular way of feeling. There's this popular song called "Addicted to Love." We talk about people being addicted to adrenaline. Certain kind of emotions actually become very familiar to us. We enjoy having them, almost can form an addiction to them. Some people like chaos and the emotion that comes from chaos, and they will actually seek out those kind of situations because that emotion is familiar or comforting to them. But one of the things I think that is the most telling thing about emotion is that they reflect what we really and truly believe and value. I mentioned in an earlier slide, you're driving down the road and you see a fancy car, and the person driving it looks all successful. And if you feel jealous, if you feel envious, then that reveals something about the nature of our heart. If somebody succeeds and we don't applaud that success, that tells us what we really think about our place in the world, and it reveals the competitive side of us. If we fantasize about revenge, it tells us a little bit about the nature of our heart or different kind of fantasies that we might have. So when I say that emotions reflect our true values and beliefs, I think that's one of the reasons that is wise to take a look at them, because it really does tell us the condition of our heart and what we really do believe and really do value in this world. So that's one of the reasons why, like I said, it's a very good way to very good reaction to emotions is to think about them and to see what they're saying about us. The scriptures have a verse that defines this quite succinctly: where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. What you value will create conditions where your heart will want to follow those things that you value. And so part of emotional intelligence is to actually unpack that thing that you value and to see if it actually is worth valuing. And oftentimes when we see what we value and we get a better look at it, we aren't as attracted to it. Or maybe we become more attracted to it because we find that it's more valuable. But these will be things we'll be talking about in that last section of our class. So again, this is the same idea, and I say it's the invariability of emotions. They will tell you. It's almost like they are lie detectors. You can't fake it. What your heart truly believes to be valuable and what you believe to be true or a strategy, your emotions will follow right along and reflect what you truly believe. So in summary, we are saying that these emotions are, I believe, God-given constructs designed to relentlessly move us towards God and the life that He's designed for us to enjoy. They are guides, and they won't let us settle. We cannot just stay in our beds all day long. I believe in some ways they are close to being infallible. Not that we should follow them and do what our emotions tell us, but infallible in the sense that they reveal what we really do believe and are fairly accurate in the expression of our values and beliefs and structures. They can lead us astray. There's no question about it. If we value things that aren't valuable, if we believe things to be true that aren't true, then our emotions will lead us astray. But it's important, I believe, to take a look at our emotions and to let them tell us what we really do believe in about life and what we really do have value. And then finally, it is easy to overemphasize emotions and be held captive by them. That's why you're taking this course, right? Is to unpack emotions and and see what really is at the heart of it all.